G'day, everybody. Harrison is here. He's back. Welcome to the Arabian Pleb show. Today is Tuesday, 19th of August, and it is 5:15 p.m. I got a lot of good feedback from the last episode that I put out, so thank you to everybody who did provide me feedback. Just one sec, sorry, I got to clear my throat. Oh, had a bacon and egg burger a couple of hours ago, and feels like it's repeating on me, but that's okay. I will persist. But yes, thank you to everybody who tuned in and left comments, and it was really good. It was great to hear from those that, or some of those that had listened, and I appreciate the feedback, and I'll take it all on board. There's a little bit of criticism, which I do appreciate too, and I'll take all that on board too. And with that in mind, so what I'm going to do for this episode is I'm going to try and keep it pretty Aussie focused, because that was one commenter was saying that, I'm Australian and I should be talking about more Aussie related things, and I think that's fair enough. So I am guilty of. Oh man, this throat is killing me. I am guilty of being very interested in American politics in particular. The reason for that is because I feel like there's a bit more weight to it when it comes to just what happens in America. Australia gets dragged into every war that America decides to conduct, and that's been true for at least the last 25 years and maybe even longer. So that's pretty consequential to Aussies, especially our people in the military. We end up invading countries that America decides to invade. So that's a big reason. And I care about that because I'm very anti-war, and I really would prefer to not fight wars of choice and only fight wars of necessity, and actually wars where we are defending ourselves, not the aggressors. So, for example, like if some foreign nation, foreign military decided to invade Australia, then we are certainly justified in going to war with that foreign invader, and in self-defense. I think that's perfectly reasonable. But if we're invading other countries on false pretext and lies, then that's not justified. So anyway, so that's where my bias is, and the reason for my focus on American politics. But definitely will accept that I should. What's the right way to put it? I'm lacking in Australian based content, and so I'm going to try and do more of that. So that's where I'm at basically, and that's what I'm going to do today, is to do some more Aussie focused news. So, and before I continue, again, as I mentioned at the top there, some people commented on the last video, and I would appreciate people commenting on this video. So please, if you've got any feedback, or if you've got anything you want to ask me, or any suggestions or any criticisms, please drop a comment. Let me know what you think, what you'd like me to cover, or if you think I'm doing a good job or a shit job, please let me know. Shout out to a good friend of mine who I've known for a very long time. I won't say his full name, but Snow, you know who you are, Snowy boy. Thank you, brother. Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate that, and for tuning in. And maybe if you're interested, dude, let's do one of these together. I'd love to get you on and have a chat. No, that'd be great. But and it was funny too. So Snow mentioned that how he found this video, funnily enough, because he would follow me, I'm sure. If we'd be friends on Facebook and probably Instagram too. I'm not too sure, but yeah, he said how he found my last show, my last episode, the YouTube video I put out, was through the algorithm, It was something that I guess was suggested to him or a recommended video or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Getting pushed by the algos, bruh. But yeah, so good on you, Snowed, and thanks for the feedback and the comment, brother. Really appreciate it. Actually, my cousin, Cuzzy. So, but yeah, dude, open invitation, man. If you want to come on, we could do like a Zoom call or whatever, and shoot the shit and flesh out some of our ideas and beliefs and how we came to those beliefs and things like that. I think he wanted to challenge me on my libertarian leanings and my belief in the libertarian philosophy. So would love to do that, privately or publicly, man. And yeah, I'd love to hear what your criticisms are of libertarianism. I can think of a handful, but I find, and correct me if I'm wrong, dude, but I find that most people's criticism of libertarianism is not so much the philosophy, but more the individuals who adopt the philosophy and how retarded they can be. So I get it. Like, I totally get it. That's the baggage that I kind of have to, deal with as someone who identifies as a libertarian. But I haven't found too many people who can argue against the philosophy, that being the belief in private property, self-ownership, and the non-aggression principle. So yeah, if you've got any critiques of those 3 points, those 3 aspects of libertarianism, yeah, would love to hear it, dude. And if you're down to do something, like a live stream or whatever, like a Zoom call thing, where we put it out on YouTube, that'd be fucking cool too, man. But I understand if you don't want to do that, because I'm sure you've got a professional career. Well, I know you do. And yeah, so I understand if you didn't want to do that too. So it's not like, trying to force you to do something you don't want to do, because I am a libertarian and I believe in the non-aggression principle and I don't believe in force, dude. So, but yeah, man, but other than that, we could do it just over the phone, or when I catch up with you. I think you said you were going to move back here in a year's time or something. So anyway, either way, all good. And dude, really appreciate the comments, man. So that was lovely of you, Snowy. All right. So let's just get straight into it. And one other piece of feedback that I got was some people liked it, but some people weren't too keen on the market analysis that I did at the top of the show. So this time I'll save it for the end. So if you're not keen on that, then just, it'll be towards the end of this video and you can just fucking shut the shit down before I get into it. But what I will get into, so I'm going to jump over to the ABC News website. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the ABC, especially me being a libertarian or an anarchist, and an anarcho-capitalist, which would, I'd say, let me go back to this. I would say that anarchy, in its most positive form, not in its like tyrannical, like, how do I put it? Not in its like tyranny form, anarcho tyranny, where it's just chaos and violence. Anarchy simply just means, if you look it up, I think it's like a Greek term, and an meaning no, and then archy meaning rulers. So no rulers. We don't believe that people should that people ought to or have the right to rule over other people. And that everything should be voluntary. There should be no force or coercion. So the ABC being a publicly funded, meaning funded through coercion, through taxation and force. I think the ABC is illegitimate and shouldn't exist. But anyway, that's beside the point. But we're just going to. So yeah, I started off saying, like, I'm not a fan of the ABC. Excuse me, I'm not a fan of the ABC, but in terms of just trying to like get a finger on the pulse and just see what sort of the mainstream corporate news are going on about. Let's jump over to the ABC, shall we? So ABC. So I've just gone to politics. The show will go on. Israeli MP to speak virtually after visa cancelled. So this is kind of interesting. Let's have a quick look at this piece here. Maybe I'll just read the in short. Like, I don't know if I want to go through the whole thing, but sounds like some Israeli MP got his visa cancelled. So be curious to see what the ABC have to say about it. I'm sure it's, obviously it's going to be over the war in Gaza, or we can't call it a war. It's a canned hunt, because a war would imply two standing armies fighting each other. Obviously, Hamas is not an army. They are a terrorist organization and have, you know, fighters, but they don't have a navy. They don't have an air force. They don't have a standing army. They're just guerrilla fighters, I guess. So the canned hunt in Gaza, I'm sure that's what this is all over. So in short, an Australian Jewish group has vowed to go ahead with a virtual speaking event for the far-right Israeli politician after he was blocked from entering the country. The government confirmed they have cancelled, I'm going to butcher this guy's name, Simcha Rothman. The government confirmed they had cancelled Simcha Rothman's visa on Monday, citing the risk that he would use the visa to promote his controversial views and ideology. So, obviously, or if it's not obvious to everybody, I'll just plainly state it. I am against Israel's actions in Gaza, and furthermore, I'm against Israel's. This is the Israeli government. The Israeli government's occupation of Palestine, of the Gaza and the West Bank. So like I'm a 1967 borders guy, and a two-state solution or a one-state solution proponent. Obviously the history, like Israel's formation was fucked up and was predicated on a lot of like immoral shit and terrorism from Zionist militias like Ergon, Lehi, the Stern Gang, and the Haganah, which ended up forming the IDF. But yeah, so they engaged in a bunch of terrorism and terrorist acts in order to form the modern state of Israel. So that's all fucked. But so I'm not like a river to the sea person where I think that all of Israel needs to cease to exist and be given up to the Palestinians. I'm sure there's a lot of Palestinians out there that do believe that. I know that. And actually, good friends of mine interviewed a Palestinian gentleman. It was really fascinating. So my friends, Toby and Dale at the Waking World podcast, not Wanking World, Waking, WAKING podcast. Waking World podcast. But yeah, they interviewed a Palestinian gentleman. It was a really good episode. I should actually try and find it. I'm going to find it right now. Alrighty, I found it. It is, so Waking World podcast, episode 46, A Palestinian's Perspective with Muhammad, I'm going to butcher his last name. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm terrible with names, but Muhammad Elagta. Muhammad Elagta, Ellagta. Muhammad Elagta, A Palestinian's Perspective with Muhammad Elagta, episode 46 of the Waking World podcast. Great episode, man. Like, really encourage people to go listen to it. But so this gentleman is, his parents were turned into refugees after the creation of Israel. He had his family, his father had a farm like just outside of Tel Aviv, like where Tel Aviv is now currently, the capital of Israel. And so, he lost everything. Their family lost everything when the Zionist militias murdered a bunch of people and forcefully removed 750,000 odd people and pushed them into Gaza or into Jordan and or into the West Bank and into Egypt and the Sinai Peninsula and all that. But yeah, so like he's someone who's just like, no, fuck that. Like I'm not settling for, he won't even settle for a two-state solution, 1967 borders. He's just like, I want my fucking family farm. I want my dad's farm back. And, like, it sucks. Like, I can't argue with him. Like, morally speaking, like, I'm like, yeah, dude, like, I fucking get it, man. If anyone out there, if a foreign mercenary group kicked you off your property, your family's property that had been in your family for even if it wasn't for generations, if it's just a piece of property that you had purchased even recently, but it's like it's rightfully yours, and then someone kicks you the fuck off it, I would totally understand and sympathize with you feeling that you want that back, that it is rightfully yours, and the whole uh, everything that happened after that point is illegitimate, and that you want your property back. I get it, so I totally understand. I'm just trying to like be realistic about it, and the way I'm looking at it, it's just like, dude, Israel ain't going anywhere, you know. And I think the thing that most people agree on, even like the liberal Israelis, um, they most of them want a two-state solution too. They want to end the occupation of Gaza and the West Bank and allow that to be, you know, rightfully Palestine. But you know, I had a chat with someone at a conference, at a work conference a couple of months back, and this woman, she was really nice, really lovely lady, had a good chat with her, but she made a good point where she's just like, look, like even if you want a two-state solution, like they're so like Gaza and the West Bank are so far apart from each other. They're like on other sides of modern Israel, and they're so isolated from one another. And then even like the West Bank itself, like with all the Israeli settlers coming in, and you know, even just the West Bank itself is like being divided. Slowly but surely, and cut off from one another. So it's like it's very like it really does seem like, I mean, someone out there prove, like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like it's like virtually impossible to have a country where parts of your country are so far apart from each other. It's not like one nice landmass. It's a little section over there, a little section up here, and the section up here is all fragmented as well. So I don't know, man. It's just fucked. My honest thoughts is like, I think there needs to be a one state solution, that Israel should just make all the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank citizens with equal rights under the law, make them citizens of Israel. But the Israeli, especially the far right wing Israeli government, or the factions, far right wing factions of Israel, they don't want that, because they want it to be a Jewish state with you know, and a super majority Jewish population. I think currently it's like an 80% Jewish, 20% Arab in Israel proper. Just forget about the 6 million people being occupied in Gaza and the West Bank. But if they were to incorporate all those people, then it's going to be more like a 50-50, you know, Jewish Arab split, and Israel may not be a Jewish state. But why does it have to be a Jewish state? That'd be my question. Anyway, whatever. I'm getting deep in the weeds. But okay, back to the fucking thing, Harrison. So back to this. So the government's cancelled this guy's visa on the grounds that this far right wing Israeli politician may promote his controversial views and ideologies. I think this is really fucking dumb, dude. I think that the government banning people's visas because they don't want them to speak, and they're afraid of their speech, is retarded. And if you're someone who believes in free speech, you want, like I do, you know, well, I believe in private property. So whoever owns the property has the choice, ultimate decision on whether you know, they're happy with someone saying what they're saying. And if you don't like what someone's saying, then you can kick them off your property, and they can go say it on their own property or someone else's property who is willing to let them say what they want to say. So I'm not like free speech absolutist, you know, in that sense, but I suppose like on like government property, on public property, quote unquote, that yeah, like the government can't just be silencing you. They ought not to be silencing you. Especially if you're a citizen. I suppose if you're not a citizen, then, you know, it's a little bit more of a grey area, whatever. It'd be more like, well, what do the majority of the Australian citizenry, what do they want? And I would take it a step further, not just the Australian citizenry. I would say what do the majority of the Australian net taxpayers want? Because they're the ones actually contributing, and they should have more of a say than, say, like a net tax leecher, you know, a net tax receiver. I don't think they should have as much say. But anyway, that might get me in trouble, but that's the goddamn truth. fuck is. That's how it should be, in my opinion. But yeah, so but yeah, I don't think I want to hear, especially if it's someone I disagree with, I want to hear what they got to say. And I think the more that we do, the more that we get these controversial views out there, the more of a chance that people have to like make up their mind, and people who are more informed to like slap down these stupid ideas. I think people with stupid ideas, if you let them speak, they really expose themselves and show their hand and what fools they are. And that's good, and all that happens typically, I've found, is like when you silence people and censor people, then it just goes underground and can get much more uglier. So yeah, I think this is a stupid decision from the government. It's the same thing they did with Novak Djokovic, man. Like when, they stopped him, they kicked him out of the country. It was fucking insane during the COVID vaccine bullshit fucking time, like 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. They kicked him out of the country, and it was on the grounds of like he might incite, well, whatever, people to not take the vaccine, some crap. It's just like, fuck off, dude. Like fucking, yeah. So I'm not for this. Is dumb. Even though I don't agree with what Israel's doing to Gaza, and I definitely, certainly wouldn't agree with this Israeli politician and what he would have to say. But I think let him talk, man. Let him fucking hang himself with his own words and expose himself to the world, or to Australians. That would have been much better. Anyway, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. What else we got? Productivity Summit begins with a warning on NDIS spending. Let's have a quick look at this, because NDIS is just a massive scam. Just read the in short. We got Jim Chalmers, the Treasury Secretary, I believe. The Treasurer, and obviously Albo, the PM. In short, the 3-day productivity roundtable begins with the Treasurer saying it will inform future federal budgets. On the government's agenda is NDIS spending, which continues to outpace economic growth despite reforms to curb costs passed last year. The 3-day summit will be held in the Cabinet Room at Parliament House. Yeah, so obviously NDIS is a massive fucking scam. Everyone knows it. Spotlight on NDIS with structural issues on the agenda. Yeah, because it's just a fucking sinkhole, dude. Like everyone's just fucking, like the taxpayer is just getting fleeced with this, and so many people are just scamming it. Like I've got a mate, he's a good friend of mine. He's a veteran, and he's with the Veteran Affairs, and he gets funding and stuff, and then he gets like these NDIS packages, and so then he's got like an advisor or like an accountant or something that sort of helps him work out his NDIS funding, and helps him allocate it and pay contractors and people who come to assist him, which he does. He needs the assistance. But anyway, doesn't mean that we should all be forced to fund his assistance. And I love him; he's a fucking champion. But still, But anyway, a whole other thing. That's my libertarian roots coming through there, Snowy. But anyway, so he was telling me, dude. So he's got a budget. He's got a budget of $50,000 NDIS per year, $50,000 of NDIS money that he can spend. And he was trying, in his mind, he's like trying to do the right thing, where he's like, not trying to like spend it all and save a bit of money and keep, like negotiate. Like if someone's like, oh, I'm going to charge $100 an hour. He's like, well, I'll give you 20 hours a week, but I don't want to pay $100 an hour. I'll pay you $80 an hour, whatever, as you would normally if it was your own money. If you were spending, when you're spending your own money, you always want to spend as little of it as possible and get the most value as possible, if that makes sense, right? Well, when you're spending taxpayer money, when it comes to the NDIS, so he was doing all this, it had been almost the first year, and he had a $50,000 budget, and he had spent $30,000, so he had $20,000 left, and he was thinking, oh, great, like I've just, that's great, like I didn't spend the whole $50,000, that's fantastic, and then his accountant, or his like NDIS financial advisor, gave him a call and was like, hey, you've only spent $30,000. we've only got 3 or 4 months left of this financial year, you may end up getting less money the following. So if you only spend 40 grand or $35,000 of your NDIS money, then the government might turn around next year and only give you $35,000. So it's actually in your interest to spend it all. Spend whatever you've been allocated, 50 grand, spend it so that you have a better chance of getting another 50 grand next year. How messed up is that? How perverted of an incentive is that? That you're incentivized to spend all the money, to just splash it around and be wasteful, because if you don't, if you're actually prudent and you if you're like only spending whatever, like whatever, it's my brain's not even working. It's how fucking retarded it is. If you spend less than what you've been allocated, then you might be allocated less the next time round. That's fucked up, man. That's fucking terrible, dude. So anyway, there you go. NDIS is a massive scam. Everyone knows it. Sorry, it took me a little while to get that out, but there you go. Okay, so what have we got next? Let's see. The Canberra fix killing growth, according to the productivity chief. Coalition MP says Australia should work with Trump on Palestinian recognition. Have a quick look at that, because Trump's probably against it, being crazy Zionist that he is. In short, Tim Wilson, so I guess he's the opposition leader, Tim Wilson, the shadow minister for industrial relations. Okay. Tim Wilson says the government did not consult with the opposition before announcing its plans to recognise Palestinian statehood. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's announcement earlier this week broke with a long-standing bipartisan position. Mr. Wilson also said Australia should work with the US, who will need to be part of any resolution in the Middle East. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I don't know. If you try and work with Trump on this, Trump's just going to go, no way, we're not recognising Palestine. He'd probably just call you a Palestinian as an insult, like he did Joe Biden. Oh, fuck. I laughed, but it's dark. That's pretty dark. That he thinks that's an insult. You're a Palestinian. What do you say? You're not even a good Palestinian. You're a bad Palestinian. Fucking hell. New Zealand Defence Minister sympathises with Trump's push to lift defence spending. Yeah. Business councils call out $110 billion red tape burden, saying clean up could save billions. Labor is no longer using the P word. And Julia Bishop disputes ANU allegations. I don't know what the P word is, and I don't really fucking care. All right. Well, that'll do for the politics. What else? Yeah, nah, fuck that. Okay. Let's, all right, let's see what else we got here. What else we got? I thought it'd be worth just checking out this video. So this is like a ABC business segment, fixing the big economic challenges. Why don't we cut over and just have a little look at this, and I can pause it as we go if I want to comment on whatever. All right, let's check it out.
This week is all about building consensus.
Let's talk about productivity. Let's talk about the growth of Australia.
Australia's best and brightest in one room, trying to solve our economic problems. Representatives from big banks, superannuation, tech billionaires, union leaders, business lobby groups, regulators and more are getting together.
Certainly the hope is.
All right, already sounds like a shit show. Already sounds like the people most responsible for fucking up and ruining the economy in Australia. We've got them all in one room, and they're going to solve all the problems. They're going to figure it out. They're going to think of the little guy. They're going to think of the Aussie battler, the middle class. All right, I'm sure. All right.
that we can come up with some really good ideas that can potentially lead to a longer-term reform agenda.
This growth mindset, the elevation of growth and the benefits it brings, has been missing from Australian policy for far too long.
Here's what we know. Day one focuses on resilience and begins with an address by the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and a presentation by Reserve Bank Governor, Michelle Bullock. Sessions on trade, attracting skilled labour and investment are rounded out by talk from Treasurer Jim Chalmers. Day two is about productivity, with a presentation from Productivity Commission Chair Danielle Wood before sessions on regulation and approvals, competition and dynamism across the Federation, before moving on to AI and innovation. The final day is on tax. Treasury Secretary Jenny Wilkinson will talk about budget sustainability before a discussion about building what the government calls a better tax system.
So there's a range of things that could be done immediately. There are some things that will feed into budget processes through our normal way that we operate. And there are other things that might be longer term.
We already have some idea of what the outcomes might be, after leaked Treasury documents suggested a freeze on changes to building rules, the National Construction Code, and using artificial intelligence to speed up housing and environmental approvals. As the meeting has drawn closer, we've had public spats about the 4-day week, tax reform, and the impact on workers from AI. The Productivity Commission estimates AI could add $116 billion to the Australian economy in a decade. While some sectors will feel the pain of job losses, it won't be a problem for these students as they make their way into the workforce.
Person-to-person services, so things like beauty and personal service type jobs, anything to do with caring, personal caring, aged care, disabled care, those sorts of things. The other type of jobs that AI is not so likely to crowd out are construction jobs.
Labor economist Callum Pickering says a lack of competition in Australia has dragged down productivity.
We have a lot of industries where you might have 2 or 3 big firms, but they don't necessarily compete that hard for customers.
Our expensive housing market is another problem.
If you have a large mortgage, you can't take risks with your career. You have to ensure that you're in a position where you can pay down that mortgage, which might take 20 or 30 years.
One of the reasons that job mobility is at the lowest point in several decades.
Overwhelmingly today, young people believe that they won't live better lives than their parents did. And as chair of the Productivity Commission, I'm worried too.
A big week of big ideas.
All right, well, that was pretty shit and boring. Sorry, guys. Probably should have watched it before I fucking put it live on the air. But yeah, pretty fucking dumb. And if you really want to solve the issues, hang on, let me pause it. I got my fiance calling me. If you really want to solve the issues of the economy, let's pause it there. So I remember. Oh, my mic was muted the whole time. No. I'm going to have to cut that out. God damn it. God damn it. Oh, I'm going to have to cut that out. Okay. All right. Where was I? Damn it. What a dickhead. Okay. Get back on track, Harrison. Okay. Housing crisis. So 3 major things I think is causing the cost of living and specifically the price of housing to go through the roof. It would be artificial suppression of interest rates, creating inflation. The big banks, and it was specifically the Reserve Bank of Australia, suppressing rates, making the cost to borrow money a lot cheaper than it otherwise should be, incentivizing people to borrow more money, creating inflation, more currency units in circulation. If you have supply and demand, if you have more supply and demand not keeping up with the supply, if supply outpaces demand, then the value of whatever that is, in this case currency, goes down. Each unit of currency has less value. Each dollar has less value because you've created way too many of them. And then just the inflation that the government creates through borrowing money and spending and printing money. So inflation's one. Regulation and red tape and zoning laws would be number 2. Firsthand, I'm experiencing this with building a house. Just the applications that you got to fill out, the fees you got to pay every step of the way, the certification process, the time it takes to like get something through and approved, get a development application. It's all just time and money. And then what's the other thing too? On zoning laws. So I know this is what I was saying before with my stupid mic was bloody muted, but zoning laws where here's an example, right? So my landlord, the landlord so we looked at buying this house, this house that I'm in right now, and my landlord was willing and able, was willing to sell us this house. And because this house is in the middle of a cane farm, and it's probably over 100 acres, this cane farm, but the fence around this house is probably, I'd say, so he wanted to subdivide just this house off from the rest of the farm. So it probably would have been like 800 square meters or 1,000 square meters, just like the perimeter of the fence around this house. And he went to the council, and the council said no, because this is zoned as rural, this farm, the minimum subdivision he could do being rural, I think it's a minimum of 100 acres or something outrageous, like 100 acres or 50 acres or something crazy, probably 100. I think that's what it was. So he can't just so that's putting upward pressure on prices as well. Is that big landowners, depending on the zoning, if it's zoned as rural, you can't just create residential housing without going through some process. I don't know what the process is to get zoning laws changed, but that's what he would have had to gone through. That's what he would have had to have gone through in order to just sell us this house with the perimeter, the fence perimeter as well. So then we had to go elsewhere, and we ended up buying a block of land and building a house. But yeah, so there's that. So interest rates, inflation, which I'd lump together, red tape like zoning laws, government regulations, and then immigration. This country, this government lets in a lot of people, and feel however you feel about immigration. Like I don't know. It's a tough one because most Aussies are come from immigrants. Most of them, unless you're one of the indigenous folks of this country, and even then, who knows? Probably came from somewhere else as well. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. But maybe 50,000 years ago or something. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, so immigration though it's undeniably putting upwards pressure on the price of housing because the government. So say for example, the government would free up regulations and just allow big landowners to subdivide in much smaller blocks to create more residential houses, and also regulations with building and stuff just made it a lot easier to build houses. and we had the same amount of immigration, it probably wouldn't be that much of a problem. You know, like this is a big country, dude. Like Australia is a massive landmass, and I know not all of it is fucking usable or whatever, you know, like there's a lot of desert, but still, just even on the coastlines and whatnot, like there's, you know, fuck, dude, like there's a lot of land here. I look around even just where I live in northern New South Wales, and there's a lot of vacant, or not, you know, whatever. Like when I say vacant land, I just mean like there's a lot of beautiful big grassy hills and beautiful, you know, farmland and whatever that I'm sure a lot of it is being utilized like productively with farmers and cattle and growing cane and growing different things and whatever. But there's also a lot of it that just isn't. That's just sitting there that could have a shit ton of houses built on it and increase the supply of housing and help bring the price down. So, but to the extent that the government isn't going to do that, then yeah, immigration becomes a big problem because the people who already live here and have been living here for, you know, several generations, are really doing it tough. And it makes it really fucking hard for them to be able to own property, own a house, when the supply of housing is not going up, but the supply of people who want to buy houses is going up. The demand from people to buy houses is going way, way up. So they're the three things I would say. Look, just to recap, whatever is monetary policy being interest rates and inflation, regulatory policy being red tape, council regulations, zoning laws, things of that nature, and then immigration, just the sheer amount of people that are coming into the country, makes the existing housing supply much more expensive. So there you go. I'm going to have to do some editing, cut out that whole... I had my mic muted. I was just going on a fucking tangent for about 3 or 4 minutes there. Well, I'm hopeless, aren't I? Oh, God. Do I leave it in there? Do I take it out? I'm going to have to take it out, but that's going to be a nightmare. I don't want to have to do that. God damn it. All right, so I've found a housing crisis fix video on the ABC website. Why don't we jump over? Hey, what's going on? What? Why are you doing that? All right, whatever. Let's check this out. It goes for 11 minutes. Won't play the whole thing. I'll just play some of it. All right. Don't know what's going on. I think my program's starting to shit itself a little bit, but that's all right. We will persist on. Just got to keep my cursor. If I take my cursor off, small screen, but then put my cursor back on big screen. All right, let's just check it out.
Talk me through how construction productivity issues impacted the bottom line.
I think if I look at the performance of the result this year, there were two key elements to the result. Firstly, we've been simplifying the group and we've done some 2.5 billion of capital recycling over the last 12 months at or above book. We've exited our international construction operations and then we've taken significant cost out. We set ourselves a target of 125, of which we exceeded, we delivered 141. In the investment development and construction segments, our investment business margins were up and we had solid growth. Our development was up on the back of completion of 2 key developments here in Sydney. So that saw the returns of both investment and development. Construction was a bit weaker, but that was...
This guy's fucking boring the shit out of me, dude. Oh my God.
Do to improve its own productivity, perhaps in the AI space?
I mean, on a couple of fronts, we've been focused firstly on training. We've upticked some of our resources around skilling and apprenticeships, so that's one. We're in its infancy, and I think what it will do is help supply. Supply is a key factor of what we need to be driving in the market, and I think build to rent will play that role. We've got some 3 towers currently today which are in production, so it's about attractive for foreign capital to come in, enabling and putting out a very bold...
All right, this guy sucks. Shut the fuck up, dude. No one fucking cares. Just fucking make this whole topic so boring. Oh, alrighty. Is my mic unmuted? Yes, thank fuck. I found a great clip of Syrian girl for those that don't know who Syrian Girl is, she's a like social media personality, pretty decent following on Twitter or X, and I just thought this clip was fucking fantastic because she's spot on, hitting the nail on the head right here. So let's get stuck into it.
Ignoring the main point here, which is that the rebel uprising or the democratic uprising is not that. It's a Muslim Brotherhood uprising. The Muslim Brotherhood was the main opposition group in Syria for the last 40 years, and they are the ones that want to remove the secular government. And I'm not a government supporter. I am for the reform process, just like the majority of the Syrian people. But the fact is, before you interrupt me, sir, the fact is, it is the American and NATO governments and Israel that are funding these Al-Qaeda terrorists and Muslim Brotherhood extremists. And that is the point that everybody here is missing. That's true. And the fact is that, excuse me, sir, but you do have a stake in Syria because we have Russia emerging as a superpower, and you have China emerging as a superpower, and America and NATO want to control the Mediterranean Sea. They want to cut off this new pipeline deal that is happening between Syria, Iraq.
She's spot on. She's 100% correct, and that's exactly what unfortunately ended up happening in Syria. Is now we've got the one of the leaders of Al Qaeda, Mohammed Al Jalani, and he goes by another name. He's gone back to his original name, but since his forces toppled Assad in conjunction with, I think he was like working with Turkey and Israel. Assad's now out. The secular dictator is now out, who protected most people's rights in that country. Now we've got an Al Qaeda leader ruling in Syria, which is fucking bonkers, dude. And totally backed by America, totally backed by Israel, backed by America, so in effect backed by Australia as well, and the NATO, and Australia's not a NATO country, and also all the NATO countries as well. So we've got a Bin Ladenite ruling Syria. Fantastic. Got another random clip, pretty funny, I guess. Is it Topher Field? Topher Field, is that right? Anyway, this guy. I don't know. He's got a lot of good stuff to say from time to time. Like I would agree with his position on COVID. He was really good. That's when I first heard of him, speaking out against lockdowns and vaccine mandates, all that stuff. And he says that he's a libertarian, so he, to some extent, believes in private property, self-ownership, and the non-aggression principle. On the non-aggression principle, that doesn't mean that we're pacifists, right? So I know some people misunderstand that and think like if you believe in the non-aggression principle, then you'll just roll over and as soon as someone is violent towards you. That's not the case at all. It just means that you can't, we believe that it's immoral to initiate aggression, but you absolutely have the right to defend yourself. And with violent means, if necessary, lethal means if necessary, if it means defending your own life. So, not a pacifist at all. Anyway, let's get back to this. Let's get back to this clip. So this is Topher Field.
So when these newcomers who just got active during COVID, they want to point at campaigners like me and so many other far more amazing people who have given decades of their lives to this country, defending these newcomers from threats that they never even knew existed. And then these newcomers have the gall to look at them and to look at me and say, huh, what have you achieved? Well, what I want to say to them is, we've achieved a fuckload more than you ungrateful little shit. So when these new...
So, pretty funny, pretty interesting. I don't know what this is all about, to be honest, but I did see Syrian Girl again, like commenting on it, and she's like calling him out for being a Zionist. So I presume it's like over the Israel stuff, I guess. But I don't know for sure. But I know that he is buddies with Avi Yemeni Rukshan and those guys, and they're well, definitely Avi Yemeni is a big, he's a Zionist, self-described Zionist, and seems to defend the Israeli government, Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party and government at every step of the way, even some of the most indefensible, heinous acts, and where there's other Zionists that won't even defend it. Like Avi will defend every single slaughter of children and just the complete destruction of Gaza at every step of the way. Just getting Hamas, brah. So yeah, I don't know. Probably should do a little bit more research before I just blast people on my channel. But anyway, thought it was pretty funny. I mean, like, this guy's like going like, oh, the newcomers, and how dare, I guess, like some newcomers are critical of him in some fashion, and he's not happy with it. But I don't think this is the right way to go about it, to be like, I've done a fuckload more than you have. And so, yeah, I don't know. Thought it was pretty funny. All right. Okay. I think this will be the last clip that I'll show, and then I'll just do my, whatever, like market analysis, and then I'll call it an episode. But old Bob Katter, old Bobby boy. For those who don't know who Bob Katter is, he's an Australian politician. What party? I should know what party he is affiliated with. Hang on one second. All right, Bob Katter, you gotta love him, dude. Like, if you're an Aussie, or if you're just someone who likes Australia and loves kind of like Aussie culture, like, this is your man, dude. Like, he is about as Aussie as it gets. What's my cat doing? Hopefully nothing too stinky. He's doing some sort of business. Okay, so this is just Wikipedia. Bob Katter. Okay, Bob Katter. I'm not even going to. Bellarmine. Robert Bellarmine Carl Katter is an Australian politician who has served as the member of Parliament for the Queensland division of Kennedy since 1993 and Father of the House since 2022. He was active in Queensland state politics from 74 to 92 and was a member of the National Party until 2001, after which he left to sit as an independent until he formed Katter's Australian Party as his own party in 2011. So there we go. So he's got his own party. He's bloody, he's a bloody champion. I should just do like a whole episode on just classic Bob Katter moments. In fact, I might even show another clip or two after this. Hang on, I've got to go see what my cat's doing. I think he's doing a big shit. 1 second. Oof, dude, that stinks. Oh, disgusting. My worst nightmare. Oh, God. Okay. So, Bob Katter. All right, so let's watch this clip. I love this dude, man. I don't agree with him on everything. I don't agree with Bob Katter on everything. Just like most people I don't agree with on everything. But he's, got some interesting shit to say, and I thought this was fucking classic, and especially, relative to Australia, average Aussie citizen battlers, and immigration. So let's check it out.
31st of August, March. And if there is a member of the mainstream parties there, throw eggs at them, please. Throw something at them. They have no right to march. They have sold our country out. Now, the Liberals want to prove that, we're very liberal-minded. We bring these people in that are totally different to us. See how little liberal-minded we are? The ALP gets in, and they say, we can branch stack with them. They'll all vote Labor. We'll see to that. We'll bring them in on condition they vote Labor. So you've got two parties selling you out. Now, 92% of the people coming to Australia over the last 12 years have gone effectively to Sydney and Melbourne. There's no jobs there. All of the processing plants, all of the factories have gone. The motor car industry is gone. The underwear industry is gone. There are no jobs there. So what are they doing there? How dare you bring these people to our country and then have them be looked after by the public purse? Take money off every single Australian who's struggling to buy food for his family. And you bring these people in, they go on the dole because there's no work for them. in Sydney and Melbourne. There's no work for anyone much in Sydney and Melbourne, except from the public purse. So it's wartime now. We are fighting for our country, and our country to be preserved and not to be drowned in a flood of immigration. Now, we have got legislation drafted to stop migration, put it in the hands of an authority that represents the Australian people and not the narrow interests of political parties based in cities.
Bobby Catter. You got to take your hat off to him, dude. You got it. I will. I bloody will. Where's the hat? I'll put it on and take it off. On you, Bobby. On you, mate. That wasn't Hail Hitler. That was a salute, you know? It's a salute, I swear to God. I didn't Hail Hitler, fuckers. Yeah, Bobby boy. Into it, son. God damn it. I can't find the clip that I'm actually looking for, but there was a great clip of Bob Catter, and he's talking about the importance of purchasing precious metals, specifically gold and silver, well, specifically gold. He's talking about, you know, the need for every Australian, if you've got any money as savings at all, money that is actually savings that you don't intend on touching and you intend on storing away for a long period of time, to go and buy gold bullion as a, you know, way to guard against inflation. It was just brilliant, like, you know, and just in his Bob Catter, you know, way of pitching it. It was fantastic. Anyway, I can't find it. Fuck, if I find it, I'll play it on another show or whatever. But I do have a funny clip here. So this is just a Bobby boy. This must have been during like the same-sex marriage debate plebiscite in Australia some years ago. It was like 8 years ago or something like that. But anyway, just a classic Bob Catter moment.
You know, people are entitled to their sexual proclivities. You know, I mean, let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned. You know, but I ain't spending any time on it, because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
So good. Just classic Bob Catter. Gotta love it. All right. Okay. Where am I up to? All right. That's enough of the clips. Let's get over to the marketers, the markets. Let's do it. Oh, all right. I guess we're starting with Bitcoin. Having a little dump, just dumping on everyone's head, I guess, at the moment. Made a fresh all-time high a couple of days ago and of $24,000 and change, $24,500 nearly, and then crashed back down to $115,000 and change. So yes, not good for anyone who bought up here, but for anyone who bought anywhere below 114,000, you're looking pretty good, really. All right, that's enough of the Bitcoin. Let's go over to gold, as I do love to do. Let's see if we've broken out of this pendant yet. And no, we have not. So I haven't checked any of this since I did the last video, so it's been a couple of days since then. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Just fully confined to that bullish pendant. So, you know, anything can happen. Anything can happen. But as the trend analysts, as the market analysts would say, that a pendant in a bullish trend like this, where you're in a massive uptrend, it's likely that when we get some sort of resolution, that it's going to be to the upside. So let's see how all this plays out. I've got to get off that. Yeah, let's see how it all plays out. But isn't that fascinating? We're really getting close to the apex there. I mean, do we have another touch on the bottom? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. It fell out of it for a second. Look at that. And then straight back into it. So, woo, it's heating up. It's heating up, everybody. Gold could be ready to make a fresh all-time high, previous all-time high, intraday, $5,438 and change. This is in Aussie dollars, obviously. So Aussie dollars, that's how we're looking. Let's go over to gold in US dollars. and very similar scenario, just still confined to this pendant here, this bullish pendant. Let's see what happens. We didn't get a touch. We didn't get a touch on the bottom on the recent sell-off like we did in the Aussie dollars. Let's go to silver in Aussie dollars, and yeah, just marching onwards and upwards. Since we broke out of that downsloping parallel channel some time ago, a few years back now, it's just been marching on upwards. Not much else to say. Silver in US dollars, similar thing, had a parallel channel, busted below it, made 3 rising valleys down here, which is a very bullish indicator, especially in a long to medium term upwards trend. Somewhat, it's really choppy in US dollars, but yeah, there we go. So we eventually ended up busting out of it. Now we're just hanging up there somewhere, but still looking pretty. And if gold's going to go off, then you can bet your bottom dollar that silver will too. That's just how it rolls. It's like gold's little brother. May as well look at US oil. Don't often do that, but US oil is $62 and change in a pretty big downtrend since its recent high of $129, $129-ish. That was, I believe, in the early stages of Russia's invasion of Ukraine that we had that crazy spike in oil, and then since then just a sell-off. Isn't it funny though that the price of oil, crude oil, can come way down, but the price you pay at the bowser for petrol and diesel pretty much stays the same. Okay, and I'll just try and smash through these quite quickly because I know I'm really interested in all this stuff, but from judging from the comments that I got on the last video, there was one guy that was really into it, and then there was another guy that really wasn't. So I put it at the end of the video, brother, and I'm just gonna smash through it because I don't think there's too much to write home about. But let's go to the Dixie, which is the American dollar. And okay, that's pretty much that's invalid now. I was thinking there was a double bottom there, but we could be forming. Let's see. Let's paint it and see what happens in the coming days and weeks. But we could be painting a 3 rising valleys, which would be super bullish and really shit for foreign currencies, including the Aussie dollar. So let's see. Hopefully that's not the case, but it might be. Yeah, no, we've got no divergence on the MACD. We've just got convergence. So yeah, okay, all right. See what happens. Let's leave it there. Don't know how strong that really is. Hopefully we'll just get more selling, really. And then let's look at the Aussie dollar, which is just below 65 cents, 64.916 Aussie cents paired to the US dollar. And that's not great. I really want to see this really get above 68 cents and beyond would be nice. Get back above 70 cents. But anyway, not looking too good. Just kind of really choppy, but a slow, steady march upwards. Let's see how that all plays out. But so that's pretty much my look. Oh, yeah, and I may as well look at bonds too because bonds are pretty important. This is government debt. US 10-year yield is 4.339% to lend the US government money for 10 years, which is fucking insane if you ask me. And then the Aussie 10-year yield, the Aussie 10-year government bond, loan the Australian government money for 10 years and you look to get 4.333%. To lock your money up for 10 years, loaning it to the government who you know is just going to fucking destroy it, waste it, and not really get any value, any bang for their buck when they spend it. So, yep. I know anyone who listens to this would not be crazy enough to do so, but apparently there are people out there that do so. So, okay, there we go. And that's it, guys. I'm going to call it an episode, an episode, whatever. Reluctant to say the word podcast. I don't think I said it until just now. But anyway, just whatever. But thanks, everybody. Thank you very much. Really appreciate anyone tuning in. If you like it, please like the video. Please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Tell me what you're happy with. Tell me what you're unhappy with. If you want me to continue to cover, issues related more specifically to Australia, let me know. If you're happy for me to do more international, American-based stuff that I'm really into, then please also let me know. I am a proud Australian. I love this country. This country is phenomenal. It has been a wonderful home to me and my family. And I think it's the greatest country in the world, and we want to keep it that way, don't we? I know most Aussies do want to keep it that way. We want to keep it the greatest country in the world. And to do so, we've got to, have good policies in place to preserve our great nation, our great culture, and our great lifestyle. So yeah, and I think one thing that all Aussies could, not all Aussies, because a lot of people are, they don't fall into this camp, or some people don't fall into this camp, but I think a lot of people do. There are a lot of lazy, fucking dole bludgeon Aussies out there. I used to fall into that camp myself. I was very degenerate as a kid and a young adult, and I didn't really work. I wasn't very productive at all, and I'm pretty ashamed of that. So trying to make up for it now, sort of woke up to myself in my late 20s and now well into my 30s and my mid 30s now. So doing my best to contribute and not be a leech anymore. And I think more people need to get on board with that. I think there's a lot that are, and there's plenty more that can come into our camp and be productive people and start businesses and be entrepreneurs and work for people and add value and really contribute to this beautiful country that is Australia. So anyway, thanks everybody. Love this country. Love you all. Peace out. And again, please leave a comment, like, share, all that fun stuff. What up, Snow? Give us a call anytime, brother. I'll have to DM you and send you my number, and then we can keep chatting. And dude, if you're keen to come on and do a little thing with me, then I'll be down for it, bro. And I know it would be a wonderful conversation, being the wonderful human being that you are. So open invitation, dude, anytime. All right, peace out, everyone. Much love. Catches.